Hi guys, so today I want to answer a question that so many of you have asked ever since I kind of first mentioned this subject, and I've never really talked about it too much because in a way I've kind of felt like I didn't particularly want to, and the reason for that will become clear in a second when I start explaining. And the question is, why am I a vegetarian? I'm going to start from the very beginning. So I became a vegetarian when I was about 9 years old, and that was mainly, as I remember it, I didn't really like meat, so that was probably the most significant factor at that age. I didn't really like the taste of it. I thought it was, I don't know, I didn't like any dishes that had meat in them. My favourite foods were like non-meat foods anyway, so that wasn't even an issue in terms of, oh my god, what am I going to eat? I'd never really liked meat anyway. And then the other thing is that from being really little, I've always loved animals. I've always been an animal person. Like when I was a little girl, all the other girls would be like playing dress up and princesses, and all I want is to pretend that I was Princess Kiara from The Lion King 2, and I just wanted to be a lion and whatever other animal that I was obsessed with at that time, and I was just always an animal person. So those two things kind of matched up in my 9-year-old brain, and I was like, I don't want to eat meat anymore because that's an animal. So that's how that kind of happened initially. So here's where it gets a bit more complicated. So because I was so young, my mum was a bit worried about my nutrition, and she said I don't mind if I didn't eat meat as long as I ate fish. So this is how it started with me being a pescetarian, which is the technical term for someone who doesn't eat meat but eats fish. So that was how I kind of moseyed along for a little while. When I went to university, I stopped eating fish for like literally a week because I lived in a flat with all vegetarian girls, and I was like, well, I'm just going to be a total vegetarian, I'm not going to eat fish. And by like the Friday of that week, I was in the Subway getting a tuna sub because I just really wanted it, and I hadn't, the whole thing about not eating fish was like a superficial reason rather than any other reason. It was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stop eating fish. It was just a bit of a whim. And I carried on being a pescetarian until pretty recently, and that's why I kind of feel like now is the time when I can really make this video and feel like wholeheartedly honest about everything, in terms of, if I'd have made it before, I know I would have got a lot of comments from people saying, well, how can you be a vegetarian and eat fish, and you can't believe these things you're saying because you eat fish. And the whole thing about fish is that it had been a habit that I got into of not eating meat but eating fish, and I just never really like had too much of a conscious thought about why I was doing that or what I was and wasn't doing, and that's all changed recently. So fast forward to probably, I'm gonna say 2 months ago, and Tiz was out for the evening with his friends from work, and I was watching Netflix, and I didn't really know what I fancied watching, and I came across a documentary called Vegucated, and it is seriously amazing. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about Vegucated. If you have Netflix, it's on Netflix, and I'm sure you can find it other places around and about. The general message of Vegucated was about being vegan, and it was about, it went into quite like upsetting detail about animals and how they're treated in terms of production for food. And after I watched the documentary, I just felt so upset, and I'd really got quite upset when I was watching it, and there's just like a little switch went in my brain, and it was like, I don't want to eat fish anymore. I really don't want to. And it was quite an unconscious thing that was happening, and about a week later I was like, oh, I haven't eaten fish. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, I haven't, and I haven't eaten it since, and I don't want to, and I am officially a 100% vegetarian now, and I feel absolutely great for it. And the thing that I've really found as well is that because I'm not eating fish, I'm actually eating loads more vegetables. So that sounds crazy, but whereas before I would have like a piece of fish with salad and whatever, I'm now like, how many vegetables can I fit into this meal? And it's really great, and I feel fantastic for it. So then another couple of things happened alongside this. One of the other things is that my wonderful friend Hannah bought me this book. This book is called Eat to Live and it's by Dr. Joel Furhman, and basically he advocates a nutritarian diet, and what that means is basically getting 90% of your calories and nutrients from fruit and vegetables, and it just really like struck a chord in me, and I have been eating so much more fruit and veg, it's crazy. I feel so much better for it, and I don't miss fish at all. I obviously don't miss meat because I haven't eaten it for like over half of my life anyway, way over half, and I just love this way of being. I'm not trying to be really preachy about vegetarianism, like each to their own, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not trying to like convert everybody in this video or anything like that, but this book is very compelling in the sense that you read it and you're like, yeah, like why would we ever eat meat? It's just like, ooh, yeah, why did we start this? It's crazy. But yeah, you know, there are a lot of kind of arguments in the book. It's probably a bit controversial, but I really enjoy it. I think it's fantastic. I'm about halfway through, I've got my little bookmark here, and I'm learning more every day and really enjoying it. And then probably the question that some people will have is like, why am I not vegan then? If I'm just going to be vegetarian, why am I not vegan? So veganism, basically I don't drink milk. If I drank a glass of milk I would feel so ill, like I'd bloat like nobody's business, and I just feel ugh, like gross. So I don't drink milk, like glasses of milk, ever. If I ever use milk in anything I use almond milk anyway. Eggs, I have like 1 egg a week, maybe 2, and cheese. Now this is where the problem comes in because I love cheese. I love it. Like I have a bit of a thing about cheese, and that is what I just can't really give up. I mean, the thing is, I said that about fish once upon a time, that I would never ever give it up, and maybe in the future, who knows what will happen with any aspect of my vegetarianism / veganism, whatever. I would say like 70% of my diet is totally, oh maybe 80% is totally vegan anyway. Like I have an egg or 2 a week, or cheese or whatever. I don't eat loads of it, but I do eat some of it. And then the other reason about veganism is because I don't like being awkward. So if I like go on a day out with my family or my friends or whatever, and they're like, oh, let's do this, and I'm like, I would find it quite restrictive if I had to be 100% like vegan all the time, and I'd be like, oh, I can't really do that. Like, or if they were like, oh, let's go for afternoon tea, and I'm like, well, I can't have the cake, I can't have the sandwiches because they're not vegan. It's just like a stupid example, but you know what I mean. It would make things quite difficult, and because I don't feel that, like when I stopped eating fish I felt a real urge, and that was like a true thing that I wanted to do, whereas with veganism I really haven't reached that yet, and I don't know if I ever will. So at the moment I'm happy just being vegetarian. This turned into a bit of a ramble, but I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my vegetarian transition / story / experience, and I'd love to hear yours as well, whether you are vegetarian, whether you're not, whatever you do differently in your diet from the norm. Leave me a comment below, let's have a little chat about it, I'd love to. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I know this has been a bit of a random video, it's not really beauty or fashion related, but it is lifestyle related, which is something I like to do on my channel, and also it's a question that you guys have asked quite a bit too. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.